In the village of Nigoro, Alexo Ukwe was known as a kind and giving man. His wealth seemed endless, and he was generous with it, often surprising villagers with bags of rice, barrels of clean water, and bundles of fresh yams. He paid school fees for children whose parents couldn't afford them, covered hospital bills for the sick, and threw large community feasts during festivals. It seemed to many that Alexo was truly a man of the people, a leader in the making who cared for everyone in Nigoro. As time went on, Alexo began speaking of wanting to make a difference on a larger scale. "If you elect me as your lawmaker," he would say during village gatherings, "I'll be able to bring even more resources to Nigoro. We'll have more water, more food, and better roads. With a seat in the Senate, I'll make sure the voices of Nigoro are finally heard." His words seemed genuine, and his actions backed them up. Every time he made these promises, he'd distribute gifts and food afterward, sealing his image as a generous leader. The villagers, feeling the warmth of his attention and the benefits of his wealth, rallied behind Alexo. They believed he truly wanted to represent them. They saw him as their hope, the one who could bring long-needed improvements to their lives. So, when election day came, the people of Nigoro voted for him overwhelmingly, confident that he would make good on his promises. But as soon as Alexo Ukwe took his seat in the Senate, everything changed. It started with him becoming less visible in the village. At first, people thought he was simply busy with his new responsibilities, but soon it became clear that he was intentionally avoiding them. No more gifts, no more free food, and no more visits. Alexo's grand promises faded, and the people of Nigoro started to worry. When they tried to contact him, they were met with silence or short, dismissive replies. They found themselves wondering where the man they had voted for had gone. Alexo became a stranger to the people he once courted so eagerly. His image as a man of the people crumbled as he distanced himself, surrounding himself instead with a circle of wealthy friends and fellow lawmakers. Alexo, like his colleagues who calls themselves honorables, used the people's money to buy expensive houses, cars, and squanders the rest on women. They became blind to the people's sufferings. When people from Nigoro sent requests to his office asking for basic necessities, water, food, help with school fees, Alexo's staff ignored them. Alexo had made it clear that he was no longer interested in such matters. Soon, stories began circulating in Nigoro about Alexo's behavior. People who had once admired him were shocked to hear that he was now treating them as beneath him. Former friends and neighbors shared stories of his newfound arrogance, his demands for constant respect, and the air of superiority he adopted whenever he visited the village.
One incident, in particular, shocked the entire village and shattered whatever goodwill remained. Alexo had ordered a large batch of fresh snails from a local seller, a popular delicacy he was known to enjoy. The delivery man, a humble worker who made a living selling and delivering snails, arrived at Alexo's mansion with a large basket of snails. After handing over the package, he politely asked for the payment they had agreed upon. Alexo looked at the man with disdain. "Do you know who I am?" he sneered. "I am a lawmaker, not just anyone. You should be grateful for the chance to even set foot in my house. How dare you come here, demanding money from me like an equal?" The delivery man, shocked by Alexo's response, stood his ground and asked for the payment again. Alexo's face darkened, and in a fit of rage, he slapped the delivery man hard across the face. He expected the man to apologize, but the delivery man pulled out his phone and recorded everything. He captured Alexo's arrogance, the slap, and every word that followed. By the end of the day, the video was online, spreading through social media faster than anyone could have imagined. In the days that followed, the people of Nigaro saw Alexo Ukwe's true face. The video exposed his transformation from a caring man of the people into a powerful, oppressive figure who saw himself above everyone else. The people were horrified and furious. Is this the man we elected to speak for us? Is this the man we trusted with our future? They asked. Anger boiled over, and soon there were protests throughout Nigaro. The villagers demanded that Alexo step down, claiming he had betrayed them, turned his back on the people who had trusted him. But Alexo refused to resign. He dismissed the protests, calling them the antics of ungrateful people who didn't understand the responsibilities of his position. Supported by other powerful lawmakers, Alexo ignored the people's calls for justice. Some of his fellow lawmakers publicly defended him, while others stayed silent, not wanting to risk their own positions. Nigaro's people, however, did not give up. They organized larger protests, marched through the streets, and used every available platform to call for Alexo's resignation. But as time passed, the protests gradually faded. With no justice in sight and Alexo's powerful allies protecting him, people began to lose hope. They had believed they could make a difference, but in the face of Alexo's power and arrogance, many grew disillusioned.
In the years that followed, the villagers fell back into their routines, the memory of Alexo's deceit fading as other local leaders made promises that sounded all too familiar. Though they swore to be more careful, to choose better leaders, many continued to fall for the same empty promises. When new elections came around, politicians again flooded Nigaro with gifts, food, and smiles, pledging to make changes, to care for the people, and to represent them faithfully. And once again, the people believed. Some elders in the village noticed the cycle and warned others, "We have seen this before. We cannot keep trusting those who only pretend to care for us." But the people were eager to believe, their memories clouded by the immediate promises of the new candidates. In time, the story of Alexo Ukwe became just another tale in the village's history, a warning to be cautious. Yet, election after election, the people of Nigaro continued to be swayed by politicians' grand gestures and empty promises. The cycle repeated, each generation trusting in a new champion who, once in power, would become a stranger. For Nigaro, a true change seemed impossible without a complete rethinking of how they chose their leaders. The village had learned hard lessons through Alexo Ukwe, but as the years went by, it became clear that this lesson had not sunk in deeply enough. Many believed that a mass reorientation was needed, a true education for the people about what it meant to choose a leader. Without this, they would remain trapped, easy prey for every politician who came bearing gifts and false promises. And so, the village of Nigaro remained in the grip of the same deceit, bound by its own willingness to believe in a vision of power that only served the powerful. Only a real awakening, a mass shift in understanding, could break this cycle, but until then, the people would remain vulnerable, trusting, and, ultimately, betrayed.